Everyone, can I start, Sad? Okay. Hello, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to Quantum Leap Advanced Toastmasters Club meeting. I am your Sergeant Arms for the day, and my name is Ajay. It's my pleasure to be the first speaker in the meeting. And before we begin the meeting, there are a few ground rules which we all need to follow. Please put your noise making devices such as mobile phones or pagers in silent mode. If possible, try to switch them off. Number two, please don't move away from the screen. If you want to do so, please turn off your camera and then move. If you are moving without turning off the camera, it might cause distraction to the speaker. Number three, always try to put your video on because the speaker wants to see the facial expressions of the audience. And number four, when your turn comes, please unmute yourself and speak. Until then, please turn off your audio as well. So with that, I would like to hand over the control of the meeting to our presiding officer, DTM Saad. DTM Saad, all is yours.
Thank you very much, uh, TTM, GK, Ajay, fellow Toastmasters, honorable guests from all over the world. I welcome you to, to the meeting number 43 of Quantum Leap Advanced Toastmaster Club meeting, the first Advanced Toastmaster Club of, of District 122, which is Pakistan. A bit about Quantum Leap. We're a Toastmaster club which which encourages people who have an interest in science fiction and and other geeky things. So if that's your forte, so so you've come to the right place. And if you're watching this recording afterwards, so so I can tell you that our membership is open. So so that was ab- about the Quantum Leap Toastmaster Club. And as for about about Toastmaster International, it's a non-profit organization which is based in various parts parts of the world to enhance and optimize uh, your public speaking and leadership skills. So those are the major reasons why one becomes a Toastmaster and becomes a member. So with that, let's move on to our guest introduction. We have Toastmaster Shafiq Toastmaster Shaikh Rizwan with us. So to- Toastmaster Shaikh, can you please introduce yourself
Hello.
to us?
Yeah. Hello. How are you? Good morning,
I'm good.
everyone. Welcome all the fellow Toastmasters and distinguished guests here. My name is Shaikh Ahmed. I am from Islamabad, Pakistan, and I am member of Rawalpindi Toastmasters Club since June 2023. So I am very glad to be here and attending today uh, your Toastmasters meeting. So I'm just enjoying this journey right from last couple of months. And by chance, DTM Iram is also a member of our club. So we have that privilege to hear her and to get the guidance from her, because she is our very senior Toastmaster club member. And we try to learn from her in every meeting. And I'm sure you will enjoy today's meeting. And best of luck for your club and for today's meeting.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Shaikh, and you're actually one of many people whom I know in, and that means of course myself, because we all like to take benefit and learn from the experience of TTM Iram, because she's just so experienced and seasoned as well. So speaking of TTM Iram, she is also the Toastmaster of the evening for today's meeting. So I would like to invite TTM Iram on onto the pro onto the proverbial stage to take over the charge of the meeting. So TTM Iram, it's over to you.
Words matter. Words are swords. They can either slit you apart or they could rise you up. Words could make huge impact on your life by raising you, or words can even bury you. Thank you very much, DTM Saad. Good morning, Assalamu alaikum to everyone around, and welcome to Quantum Leaps meeting. I am your Toastmaster of the evening, and I'm so excited to share with you, even though I don't have electricity at home right now, but still to share with you the power of words. A while ago, I have shared many words with the Vapdas people, and I don't think it's affecting them, because where you put the words need to fall and affect on those ears, and it doesn't. So thank you so much for being here. My theme today is purely inspired by Toastmasters and the Toastmasters within Toastmasters International. Because what we all do is use our words and try to make a difference in everyday life. This reminded me of one of the small speeches I did in my first meeting of Karachi Toastmasters Club. And that was a table topics where they asked about an inspiration. And honestly, I was inspired by something, that there was a young chap who was struggling at school. And this is a legendary story. He was struggling at school, and they once sent down a letter through him and said, don't come to school tomorrow. And the letter said something that his mother read. When she read the letter, she said, oh my God, son, you are so genius that they have said, please don't send him because our school is not capable of handling him. Can you please do self-learning for him? And she gave him a couple of books and things. He used to sit down, study, read. And guess what? He was Albert Einstein. And once when his mother died, he was clearing up her closet. He found a small piece of paper, which he never actually read again. When he opened it up, it said, Albert is dumb. Please keep him at home and do not waste our time. And do not waste time of our teachers and our management. Tears rolled down his eyes, but he was so happy to have his mother as his initial mentor, who trusted her trusted him, and who knew that he had something, and the words can either bring Albert Stein to us, or words would have just made us lose such a great scientist. That's the power of words. And this is a duty of a Toastmaster when he signs up for becoming a Toastmaster, to practice using the right words every day, whether it's our meeting, whether it's our networking, it's with our children, it's with our spouse, at workspaces. Everything can be handled by using right kind of words and spreading positivity. Thank you so much. I hope we are starting off well by taking up this message. And I would now like to call upon the people who are going to help me out in today's meeting. We are small, but don't think of us as something which is not going to put up an impact, because Quantum Leap is well known for having the cream of Toastmasters here, who learn, who put up their best effort, come what may, the number is. So I'm going to call my team here, and I'm going to start with someone here. Let me open up his introduction. Yeah. So this Toastmaster is a member since June 2015, which means it's been around 7 to 8 years. And he has received his DTM in 2019. That's been around 3 years. And he's now working on his second DTM. And his current role in the district is that he's district division director for South region in South Carolina. He's also serving as secretary for Quantum Leap Toastmasters Club. And he's also serving at Nizam Pet Toastmasters Club as VPPR. And when I asked him, when was the last time someone inspired you with your words? He said, don't forget what you promised to yourself. I promised to complete one path by December 2023, and I'm working on it. That's his inspiration. And please get your hands together for the lead evaluator, and also he's going to be the language evaluator, and a couple of roles that he's going to explain now while he comes on the stage. Please get your hands together for DTM Ajay Kumar.
Thank you, DTM Eram. Hello, everyone. I'm playing the grammarian role, that is word master grammarian. So as a word master grammarian, I will be observing the language used by the speakers, and I will make the list of good words or good sentences or quotes, and then I will submit the report towards the end of the meeting, and also make list of those words or sentences which needs some kind of improvement, and will try to suggest. I'm not good at grammar, but I will try my best to suggest the good use of those improved languages or improved words. Apart from that, it's my responsibility to introduce the word of the day. Today's word of the day is prudent, which means cautious or discreet. How we can use this word? My friend suggested me to be prudent when it comes in believing people. So I would request everyone to use the word of the day, prudent, in their speeches. Thank you so much. Back to you, ma'am. Eram.
Thank you very much, DTM Ajay. So, prudent is cautious. So I need to be pretty prudent when I talk, and pretty prudent that I do not bring up the 3 taboo topics in a Toastmasters meeting. Can I ask anyone else to use this in the statement? DTM Saad?
Okay, I can use.
DTM Saha. Yes.
When your wife asks whether she can visit her parents' home, it is prudent to remain quiet.
Dil ke arman.
Because there is no right answer to this question.
Can I add further?
Yes, please. Yes,
And when
please.
she said, I want to go to the mall, then also be prudent. That never say no.
DTM Saad, you aren't married yet, but you can put up some experience that you
Yeah.
think of.
But not this type of experience. All I was thinking was we need to be prudent the next time our immediate past president attends the meetings and see that we are not beginning the meetings on time. So that's one reason to be prudent.
Thank you very much.
Especially for you, Saad.
Yes, exactly for me.
Thank you very much. And I would add up because that raises up my husband and wife thing going on. So when your wife asks you that, am I looking fat in this dress? Please take the most highest level of prudency. Thank you very much. And now I'm going to move towards my next role player today. And that is again someone, a Toastmaster that's wearing many hats. So this Toastmaster is a DTM who has been a member since 2019. He's a computer scientist working as a digital marketing professional in a US-based software company. And he's been doing multiple roles in Toastmasters, including being the president of Quantam Toastmasters Club. When I asked him the question about the last time someone inspired you, he said, you make your own luck, his inspiration from Titanic movie. So please get your hands together for DTM Saad Shoaib.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster of the Day, DTM Iram Rizvi, fellow Toastmaster, honorable guest. My role as the timer would be to time each and every segment of the meeting. So there are various segments we have throughout the meeting with various timing. When you see this slide, that means you have reached your minimum time to qualify. When you see yellow, that means you are about to reach your reach your maximum time to qualify. And when you see red, that means you have reached your maximum time to qualify and you have 30 seconds to wind up your speech. So with that, it's back to the Toastmaster of the Day, TTM Iram Rizvi.
Thank you very much, DTM Saad, for sharing your role. Now we are moving towards the segment of prepared speeches. And before doing that, I want to share something. There was a book that my husband was reading, and I was trying to recall, I couldn't. But if I get the answer because I messaged him, I'm going to share in the end of the meeting, where he once came and told me that the impact of words are so heavy on a person that imagine that if there was a war and the soldiers have been there in the field, and one soldier has lost his best friend, his teammates, and he has actually seen their bodies ripped off, ruffled up, burned up, and he probably bought the pieces of their bodies back, and not some of them, he couldn't even say goodbye to them, and he had seen all that, and he has come back flown home. So do you understand the trauma that that soldier has gone through for the rest of his life? When a child sees their parents arguing, that's the effect that child gets on himself, what that soldier gets. That's the power of words. When the parents are just having a discussion, just having arguments, which are normal discussions, by using the words which are required to make each other understand, that's different. But when the parents are on the level of fights, where they're hurting each other, the impact of that is as if a war has hurt a soldier. That's the impact of words that we don't take care. So this is how important it is that once you are practicing yourself as a Toastmaster, implement that in your household and take care of your little ones. So thank you so much. I wanted to pass that on to you, and I will share the name of the book by the end of the meeting, waiting for my husband to reply from Riyadh. So now I'm going to call upon the first speaker, because now we have the speech session, and in Quantum Leap, we would have speech, immediate evaluations, geek of the day, and we have the keynote of the day. And then in the end, we are going to have the moving moods on with table topics in the end, and followed by the general evaluator, of course. Don't get me killed, Mr. General Evaluator. So I'm going to call my one speaker today who's going to be there, because my second speaker cannot come in. So we already have a named winner if he does not disqualify on time. So this particular person has already been introduced to you, but very quickly, I'll say it again, that he is being a Toastmaster member since 2015, and he has achieved his DTM and he's going for his second DTM. The project that he's going to do today is from Dynamic Leadership Path, and he's doing level 3. The project is connecting with storytelling, and the speech title I'm going to say once I'm introducing to him. Can I please call upon the evaluator of this particular speaker? And the evaluator is DTM Talha. Would you be able to share because you're driving?
Actually, I'm the person given by. Am I audible?
You were breaking. Now I think we can hear.
Yeah. Okay. Now I think I'm audible.
Yes, you are.
All right. Yeah. So DTM GK Ajay will be attempting the project Connect with Storytelling. The whole point of the project is to narrate a story and connect with the audience through that story. At the same time, the speech is also expected to have the usual Toastmasters trait of having a structure, a conclusion, something to take away, proper transitions, and of course, all the prerequisites of eye contact, vocal variety, and voice modulation. So that is what the project is about. And I also believe, I may be wrong since I haven't got the project open before me right now, but I believe in this project, one doesn't absolutely have to be original. Instead, the story can be taken from somewhere. So with that, I hand over the charge back to our Toastmaster of the day. And I would also request her to introduce the panel of evaluators, since I haven't got the sheet before me right now.
Yes, I can.
All right. Thank you. Over to you, DTM Saad.
I can do that. So the lead evaluator is DTM Talha bin Hamid. The auditory evaluator is Toastmaster Faisal Iqbal, since he has generously agreed to take up the role. The perceptible will be done by myself. The structural evaluation will be done by DTM Iram, and we need a visual evaluator if anyone can take up that role.
Maybe Toastmaster Shaikh can.
Toastmaster Shai, can you do the visual evaluation?
Yeah, I'm okay.
All right.
It's just
And
1
we will
minute.
call him, and we will call him just before structural, so that he gets an idea how it's done.
And it's just 1 minute feedback on particularly visual aspects, the visibility, the movement, the gestures, anything that you can see. So I hope that will be easily doable.
Okay, got it.
All right. So now I would like to call my speaker on stage, DTM Ajay Kumar, the 60 months. The 60 months DTM Ajay Kumar.
Thank you, DTM RM. Good morning, my dear fellow Toastmasters. You might have seen people misusing their leadership roles, such as politicians. Have you ever seen people misusing the people in the leadership role for their own benefit? One day, while having tea after the club meeting, one of my fellow Toastmasters said, Toastmasters program is the most affordable program when compared with other courses like Dale Carnegie. He might be true. Have you ever met a Toastmaster for whom the program costed 600 lakhs in Indian rupees? When I convert that into Pakistani rupee, it's 22 lakh 22,000. It was during my first stint as the division director 5 years ago. At that time, my colleague at work came to me and offered a business opportunity. Basically, I'm not a money-minded person. I don't run after money. But I have one thing in my personality. That is, I wanted to do unique things and stand unique in my profession and in my personal life. And I always strive for that. Initially, I did not like his business opportunity, but he was after me day after day and asking me to rethink on that business opportunity. After 3 months, I said, okay, thinking that he will support me in that business because I don't know anything about that business. And he said that it is an e-commerce related business. And that business requires initial investment of 4.5 lakhs in Indian currency. When I convert that into Pakistani rupees, it is 16 lakhs 76,000. I took it from a bank as a personal loan and I invested that amount in that business. Then I realized that I have done the biggest mistake in my life. I was into a multi-level marketing. I also came to know that they offered me that business opportunity because that I am capable of doing business. They offered me that opportunity because I am a division director and they can pull as many members as they can through me into the business and earn money. My dear friends, Toastmasters has a special place in my heart. We all join Toastmasters with a goal. That goal might be different from person to person. We all join for our self-improvement. And I think if your goal is to make money through Toastmasters, then Toastmasters is not the correct place. Yes, you can earn money through Toastmasters, but with the skills you acquire here and applying them in the real life situations. When the business people tried to pull my members into their business, I stood like a wall because it's my duty to protect my people, not to deviate from the goal of joining Toastmasters. And when they came to know that I will be of no use, they left me. And when I call them for my initial investment, there is no response. Unfortunately, we entered into the pandemic period, followed by a series of lockdowns. And then it started. One thing did not stop, paying the EMI to the bank for 60 months. So that's my speech title. During these 60 months, I have had enough torture, sleepless nights, and I even cried a lot of times because I have gone through hell. Only 3 people know the situation. One, my mother. Second, my wife and my best friend, Syed Saeed. My mother and my wife supported me all these 60 months without saying or without pinpointing me that I have committed a mistake and have lost that much amount of money. I paid the 60-month EMI. I have successfully completed 60-month EMI, and my last installment is on July 7th this year. That day, I celebrated that day with my family by distributing sweets to them because I know the pain I have gone and the support they have given. I called my friend Saeed and told him that I have completed the last EMI. He said one thing, खुदा ने आपको किस मिट्टी से बनाया रे? I hope you understand this. What he means is, how can you get that courage in these 60 months? If I am in your shoes, I would have committed suicide. And he also warned me not to do this kind of things again. My dear friends, why I am sharing this story with you? Because I believe that Toastmasters is a platform where we can share our life stories so that it might be an alert to some, and I can also complete a speech. But I am proud of one thing of these 60 months. I stood for my people. I stood for a community I believe, and I stood for a cause. But I had a lesson here. Don't believe people blindly. Salt and sugar looks the same, but they are not the same. Thank you so much. Back to you, TMOD, DTM RM.
Thank you very much, DTM Ajay Kumar, for sharing that with us. Now I would like to call the lead evaluator, DTM Talha bin Hamid, to take up the evaluation and the along with the panels in his team.
Thank you so much, DTM Iram. I would just require about 30 seconds because I've just reached home. So
No
I'll,
worries.
yeah.
I'm going to
so
start
just 30.
take those 30 seconds. And I was about to bring this introduction when he's going to be the table topics master, but let me do it now. So DTM Talha bin Hamid has been a Toastmaster for 7 years, and it doesn't look like. He looks like somebody who has been in Toastmasters for 70 years, minus the age factor. And he's a CA by profession, a nerd by choice, a father of 4, married to a contest-winning Toastmaster, as well as Toastmaster itself. So DTM Talha bin Hamid's wife is a great challenge to him in the field of public speaking. And of course, she and him both are great leaders too. And when I asked him about when was the last time someone inspired him with their words, he said yesterday at Karachi Toastmasters Club meeting, a debutant evaluator inspired him with their empathetic evaluation. And this is the beauty of Toastmaster DTM Talha bin Hamid, that it doesn't matter at what age you are, how long you've been a Toastmaster, but when we say the word senior is not age, senior is the maturity of being a Toastmaster. Whenever you are in that maturity of seniority of being a Toastmaster, you know that you learn from every meeting. It's hardly that you would come back without learning, because something as small as someone standing up or holding their hands or using their eyes, anything could be a learning lesson for a Toastmaster. And the aim should be such that when you come out of a meeting, pick up one point of being a better communicator or a better leader. So that's the intro of our DTM. And he's doing multiple roles today, including the table topics master. He's also lead evaluator. And we could see that he was on a drive, and still he's been trying his best to shuffle up in the middle and join us in. So my green light hasn't come. 1 minute. So do I have DTM Talha? You can take your time and log in. If anybody else wants to introduce him, we can have a round. All
Sure.
right. So DTM Talha will have
I'm just logging in.
DTM Talha will have the evaluator for DTM Ajay.
All right. So now I'm logging out from the phone and logging in from the laptop. Mainly because the laptop camera makes me look much better. So ladies, hold on to your hearts. Just give me a second. The camera is not turning on. Wait. Yeah, there it is. All right. So thank you so much, DTM Iram, for braving through those so-called 30 seconds. So DTM Ajay, first of all, it was a genuine pleasure witnessing your speech after such a long time. And
I was quite taken aback by the fact that you seem to have grown in the meantime. So it means that you keep working on your speaking skills, which is admirable. The story you chose was deeply personal, and at the same time, it was really relatable as well. And I believe that many of us have been duped like this in our real lives, one way or another. I know I have, and not once, but quite a few times. I can also identify very well with many of the things that you said during the speech. It was as if I had written those things. For example, Toastmasters is not a money-making machine or not a doorway to riches and fortune and fame. It is just a set of tools that is given to you, and then what you do with that is entirely up to you. Secondly, you also said that if your purpose is making money, Toastmasters is not the right place for you. Now, we have seen many examples where very senior Toastmasters, even district leaders and world leaders, kind of use the Toastmasters platform to advance their personal businesses as well. But they do it in a dignified manner and not in a manner in which you narrated. So, first of all, congratulations on surviving through those difficult 60 months, keeping your cool and remaining human. I mean, that goes well beyond any technical aspects of your speech. You should be congratulated, and we should be proud of you for having survived that difficult spell and emerging a better person for it. Secondly, I also believe that your story was very gripping, the way you started it, the way you narrated it. First of all, you had us from the word hello because it was your personal story, and we could feel that it was your personal story. Your tone was very intimate, it was very emotive, but at the same time, it was not overly dramatic. I believe at least that it struck the perfect balance between the dramatic and the emotional. In this case, sitting down and delivering actually helped your speech because it gave that flavor of us sitting around you at a fire side chat and just listening to your story. A few improvement areas. I believe in one or two places you could have added a little dramatics, a little more amplification in your emotions, especially when you're narrating that you felt deceived, you actually realized what was going on. And secondly, I also believe that you alluded to the fact that you were making a speech twice, which was not needed. We were already very absorbed in your speech. So overall, absolutely wonderful job. And now it's time to hand over the charge to our modular evaluators, starting with the visual, I believe, and that is Toastmaster Shaikh Rizwan, if I'm correct. Toastmaster Shaikh, are you there?
Sorry, I just connected to the laptop actually because it was making a problem. So fine.
You are on mute,
Hello.
sir.
Now you're
Yeah,
audible.
am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So my turn to tell about the evaluation on. Okay. So it's my turn to tell the evaluation on the visionary impacts during the speech. Am I right? Yeah.
For 1 minute.
Okay. Overall, everyone was being very attentive during this speech. I have noticed that everyone was being very, you can say, was listening to Ajay of his story and how Ajay narrated his story. It was looking that he was saying that from his heart, and he was actually delivering that speech from core of his heart. that was very beautiful. That means the effects which were coming out of his face, those were very nice, and it was looking that he was telling his story, and he tried to inspire the others that what lesson the others should learn from his story. So it was very good. The rest, one thing which I noticed, including myself, might be I was also offline few times during the speech, but it was better that everybody should switch on their cameras during the speech, because when the speaker is delivering his speech, he wants to see the reaction of people, what they are actually getting out of his speech, what they are actually inferring from that. So that one thing was missing, but the reason was it's a morning time. Everybody has some their and the similar things are happening around me here in my bedroom. So that was the reason Mr. Tala was also traveling. So these were the exceptions today. So otherwise, everybody was very attentive, and everybody was listening to Ajay very attentively, and getting what message he was trying to give through his speech. Overall, it was good. That's from my side.
Thank you so much. Next, we will have our auditory evaluator. And our auditory evaluator is Toastmaster Faisal Iqbal. So over to you, Toastmaster Faisal.
Thank you so much, DTM Talha, for the honor. Fellow Toastmasters, distinguished Toastmasters and guests, Assalamu alaikum and hello. I hope you're doing well. What a great speech, Toastmaster Ajay. Good morning, fellow Toastmasters. EMI to bank for 60 months, sleepless nights, going through hell, completed the last EMI. I loved your speech, and I loved how you presented all those written dialogues, I would say, with such and conviction. I could feel that. However, in my humble opinion, I must say that at some points that could be increased in terms of emotion and in terms of your expression. And for example, when you said good morning, fellow Toastmasters, you could have said it with more energy. Good morning, fellow Toastmasters, because we all are just woke up through our bedtime, and we could have more energized. For example, at one point you said sleepless nights or going through hell. So you could have, in your vocal variety, could shown to us going through hell, just like that, to make it more animated and dramatic. And when you said, you told your friend Saeed about when you completed the last EMI, you could have said it more with more happiness in your tone. I completed the last EMI, Saeed. Do you know that? So just like that, that would have made it more, that would have increased the impact of the speech even more. However, I love the speech overall, but just a little bit work on this vocal variety will take it more to another level. Back to, yes, I would also say that voice clarity was very good throughout the speech, but a little bit work on the voice intonations would take your speech to another level. Back to the lead evaluator, DTM Dullah.
Thank you so much. And next, it is time for our perceptible evaluator. And taking advantage of presence of International Director Frank Suro, I'd like to introduce our unique evaluation format. It is actually the brainchild of DTM Sudarshan. We do the conventional evaluation first, and then we do a panel evaluation of 1 minute each, which is divided into 4 categories. The first is auditory, the first is visual, second is auditory, the third is perceptible, which is in terms of the impact audience, and the fourth is structural. So our perceptible evaluator today is DTM, I believe it's DTM Saad.
Yes.
And over to you, DTM Saad.
Thank you very much, lead evaluator TTM Ajay. Being someone who has almost fallen victim to this MLM scheme, I can fully relate with your story and the way you took us on a roller coaster ride from being caught up in that, from being tried to be used as a tool to suck in uh, more people, to, to all the way to to successfully and paying off your EMIs and getting rid of all those debts. You gave many people hope that nothing is the end, and we can always bounce back. So you have managed to give us all a perfect message and an impact that is a lasting one. So well done on that. So it's over to the lead evaluator, TTM Talabina.
Thank you so much, DTM Saad. And time for our final evaluator, DTM Viram, for language and structure. Over to you.
Thank you very much, lead evaluator. DTM Ajay Kumar, I love the structure of your speech. It had, in the beginning, you brought up that whole setting that, what something is coming up. In the center, you got me on a really high hype that it had a proper body, that something has gone wrong with you. And in the end, I did feel that, oh God, I kept on feeling inside my heart that no, this hasn't happened. And I like the part that you ended up with a message. Thank you so much for sharing your personal story. As a structure, I really loved that there were highs and lows. You did do that. You had us hung on because in the beginning, you didn't exactly tell us what was happening. It came in the body. And by the time it came in the body, I couldn't leave the screen. I wanted to quickly hear what went wrong. And did you come out of it or not? But in vain, it was not every story is a happy story. So it went on you getting a lesson. But again, there was a message in that. Thank you so much for showing up that even a bad story has a positive lesson. And the most powerful people are the ones who learn from what they have done rather than giving up on it. So thank you for sharing that with us. Over to you, lead evaluator.
Thank you so much, DTM Viram, for that lovely evaluation. And now we revert back to our speaker, DTM Ajay, for his feedback on the feedback on the feedback.
Thank you, DTM Talha bin Hamid. So I completely agree with what visual evaluator, auditor evaluators has said, and also what DTM Iram has said. And I will try to work on the recommendations which was all, and will come up with a better speech next time. Thank you so much. Back to you, DTM Talha.
DTM Tala, would you like to give the feedback on the feedback on the feedback? Thank you so much. So it's over to the Toastmaster of the evening. And I'm so glad for the project that we have had today. Thank you so much, DTM Ajay, for sharing the story with us. Now, while we move towards the next segment, we do have our celebrity in house. Before that, I do have small scripts and I want to show off my role as a TMOD. So we were talking about the power of words, the impact of words. And there is a small fable that we all have heard in our childhood or in college days. And let me just remind it back to you. There were two frogs who were walking up, and one of them was hard of hearing. So he could just hear a bit of a sound. And while he couldn't hear his friend telling him that something is coming in front of him, he fell into the well. And he was inside, and his friend started screaming that, oh my God, my friend has fallen down, my friend has fallen down. And the rest of the frogs, they came along and stood on the edge of the wall of the well. And at that time, the frog inside was feeling so low, but he saw up, and his name was Frankie. So everybody said, oh, he's going to try jumping and he's not going to make it. And Frankie kept on jumping, and he was getting tired. At that time, he looked up, and his friend said, Frankie, stay, Frankie, stay, Frankie, stay. And Frankie kept on trying. In the end, when they said, Frankie, stay, just die in there, don't make it miserable, Frankie, stay. He gave a major leap and he was out of the well. When he was out of the well, they came closer to him to talk loud and said, why did you put all that effort? We were telling you to just let him stay there and die, have a peaceful death. And once he was able to make out what he said, I thought you said, Frankie, yay, Frankie, yay, Frankie, yay. Those are the power of words. And this is what we all should learn. When anyone tells us something about not doing it, deliberately change it to another message. Deliberately have it on the next level. Deliberately make it positive. And try hearing when people say things at times which we try to interpret that they didn't mean it positive, and I'm sure he was meaning to taunt me. Don't do that. Take it on face value. Let your heart and brain believe that fine. If they said, you're not that fat, you're looking pretty today, forget the part. Enjoy the pretty part. So don't need to get into the detail that it was a taunt. So try doing that in life with all the words that you're getting. And now I'm privileged today to invite my guest for the keynote. And that's the beauty of Quantum Leap Toastmasters Club, that we would have Geek of the Day, we would have Keynote of the Day, and today we are having someone who's an international director for Region 11. I asked him a couple of questions and he helped me out with this, that how long he's a Toastmaster, and he's a Toastmaster for 11 years. And he's a businessman whose vision is to develop and support leaders with vision, leaders who are authentic in their interest in people and their challenges, and leaders with courage to do what needs to be done to avert these challenges. He's having multiple roles, of course. He's an international director. He's a dual member of many clubs, and he's also a distinguished Toastmaster, a past region advisor, and currently serving as a member of Toastmasters International Board of Directors. We are so privileged to have him here. And today he's going to do a speech with the topic I'm going to share soon. And when I asked him, when was the last time he got inspired by someone through their words, he said, 3 weeks ago, someone said to him, I know you will make a difference. How beautiful is that? So please get your hands together to invite our International Director from Region 11, DTM Frank Tesoro. The topic is borderless, rethinking migration, borderless, rethinking migration, DTM Frank Tesoro.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Aram, and thank you so much, Quantum Leap Toastmasters, for having me here today. I must say I was having lots of conversations this week with DTM Tala in the midst of my schedule, and I didn't always realize that my keynote was going to be this week. And of course, being someone who's very interested in the science and art of things, I'm someone who really believes so much in what Quantum Leap Toastmasters is actually engaged with. But to come up with a topic was not one of the easiest things. But earlier this week, I had a conversation with a few of my friends that would not be socially accepted everywhere, a few of my geek friends. And we were talking about how the very same technology that's influencing the future of work, and pretty much the technology that's influencing the future of work, is moving us from a world where we build our life around work to a stage where we build our work around our lives. And how beautiful. And so we started talking about how we could rethink migration. Now, according to the International Organization for Migration and the World Bank, one of the most common reasons why people migrate is for economic reasons. Now, this comes ahead of a couple of other important reasons why people migrate. Sometimes it's a war situation or a natural disaster. But the main reason why most people migrate is economic. But what we need to consider as humans is economy, whilst economy and not having money to feed yourself and your children may be a very important immediate consideration. Ultimately, it's usually not the most important consideration for the human being, because you always want to be around your family. You want to be somewhere where you feel you belong, and you want to be somewhere where you feel like there are many opportunities that come across. And what we were talking about on the back of a disputed election in my home country of Zimbabwe was the fact that in as much as you can work anywhere in the world, there are few better places than home. And so we started brainstorming a world where we thought, could actually make a very big difference. And it was somewhere along that conversation when someone came up with a topic to say, actually, the new form of migration already exists. There are people already here today who pretty much work from, in this instance, we could say there are people who work in Pakistan. However, they actually do their work mostly outside of Pakistan, but being based in Pakistan. And this allows them to meet their financial goals, one of the main reasons why people migrate in the first place. And yet at the same time, it also allows them to stay close to their family and actually enjoy some of the benefits that come through. And here are a few technologies that I thought are great enablers to this new form of migration. Now, one of the first technologies that one can think about is obviously for you to actually be able to work in another place, it's important that you're connected to the other place. And so I've seen that, internet technology has actually improved. And now, of course, some of you may have heard, about Starlink, which is the internet technology developed by Elon Musk, as, internet technology that's built in the orbit. And I think this allows, internet connectivity sometimes in the most remote of places, and sometimes even after a natural disaster or during a war, or sometimes during a situation like in my home country where the government can shut down the internet for political reasons. You can remain connected and still be able to reliably offer whatever service that you have in mind. And so this is the start of, a revolution that could really make it possible for you to succeed from anywhere without having to worry too much about how, being connected can limit you from where you are. Now, of course, when we talk about the pricing of this technology, it's still very much inaccessible to the average person that would usually consider migration purely for economic reasons. However, this is a technology that seems to actually come through and make it possible to make things work. In fact, in my home country, using Starlink will actually not only provide faster internet, but actually at a cheaper rate than a lot of the local citizens are able to. Now, the other thing about migration that we spoke about is maybe initially it may be useful for one to migrate to a new place, to go and open new markets. And so instead of migrating to actually just go and purely work, you could migrate to any part of the world just to go and stay there to establish your bank accounts with the permits that you have available and to actually make it possible for you to see the opportunities that you can provide remotely ultimately. And so sometimes, even though when you move back to Pakistan or wherever it is that you live, or Malaysia, I know Eliza lives in Malaysia, I think what's possible is that from time to time, you may be required to show up physically. And many of us have been privy to some of the technology that people like Elon Musk, Richard Branson, and Jeff Bezos are trying to use as they take us to space travel. Of course, right now, the journey to Mars is a one-way street. And they're trying to develop a technology called Hyperloop, which will allow us to actually reach Mars and come back in our lifetime. In fact, Elon Musk is very well known for saying that he thinks that at some point he would die on Mars, thinking of that multi-planetary world. But what this Hyperloop technology is able to do already is it's able to allow people to travel in tubes for up to 2,000 kilometers per hour. So where we are currently thinking about, how can we make city to city travel look better, where someone may live in Karachi and probably go to work in Lahore every day. What we're actually moving on from is a potential city to city type of thinking about work, and maybe a country to country or a continent to continent type of travel. Imagine being able to work in a place like London or somewhere halfway across the world, and being able to take a Hyperloop ride or a tube ride that would take you anything between 30 minutes and 90 minutes just to go halfway across the world. Wouldn't that make a very big difference in the way you work? And yet at the same time still allows you to maintain that connection, not only with your immediate family, but with your roots. And so it really allows you to be that connected, something that a lot of people who migrate, a lot of them never feel like a first-class citizen. In fact, the only place where you really feel like a first-class citizen is in your own country. And this is what this Hyperloop technology could potentially bring into the world that we're thinking about today. Then the third technology is, of course, financial. And there are people now already who have established a lot of, bank accounts in places where it's convenient to receive money from where they do business. Now, you don't always need a global system. In fact, if you come from a country like mine, you have probably financially sanctioned and are not able to actually transact that easily with the rest of the world. And not only have fintech companies like Wise or Revolut, which allow you to transfer money seamlessly from your phone popped up. But people are doing simple things like going to live in the United States, or going to live in Switzerland, or going to live in Singapore for a short time, and sometimes establishing offshore bank accounts, which actually allow you to do this. And this also allows for another type of migration that a lot of accountants in the room would maybe understand, the whole concept of tax migration, where you potentially migrate to a place where you're able to pay lower taxes. But other than a scenario which currently happens, where if you move to another total new place in the form of physical migration that we're thinking about today, Pakistan probably loses all tax benefits from you. But when you imagine a world where you actually live in your own country, but are able to work in multiple tax jurisdictions, your country is still able to benefit from the taxes that you pay as someone living in the country, but you're also able to benefit as an individual from actually some of the tax breaks that you get from working in other jurisdictions. And of course, depending on the tax benefits in your country and the tax agreements, you're able to make a big difference. And so these are some of the technologies that, started this whole conversation about, migration. And this is when we started thinking about the borderless citizen, where you actually remove a lot of the physical borders and physical barriers, and you come up with things that actually allow you to migrate in the very form or in the form of that mindset that you think about in the first place, and say, you know, maybe I'm looking for economic opportunity, and you find that economic opportunity that you are able to deliver from home and still be able to enjoy some of the benefits. Now, one other reason why people would potentially consider migrating is health. And of course, with health, health isn't just medicine. In fact, sometimes when you go to a foreign country to try and get help, you don't always get some of that localized help that people of your make would usually get from anywhere. And now we're starting to see a lot of health tech that's coming through, which allows, technology to capture a lot of data on you as an individual, the type of things that are sensitive to bodies of people who are born in a particular country, and actually allow you to develop, customized medicine, something that used to be available only to the super wealthy before. Now we've got technologies that are available to actually gather this data and actually deliver the best. However, we can't run away from the fact that sometimes most medical insurances in some of our countries are not always the best. And this is the beauty of being a borderless migrant, because now there are some global insurance opportunities that sometimes are just simply inaccessible financially. But once you start actually finding that economic break that you're looking for, you could get some of this medical insurance from your home country and still be able to go and enjoy some medical treatment outside the country. And in fact, something that fascinated me in terms of the development of the health insurance is there are people who are already trying to imagine a world where instead of paying the doctors whenever you're ill, and doctors sometimes taking advantage of your illness to refer you to another connected network of doctors so that we pay them more, people are now asking the question, what if we only paid doctors to keep us healthy, henceforth changing the incentive in their mind to keep us healthy for most of our time, and not keep us in a state where they taking advantage of our illness? There's some technologies that are being built into doing that. So where you're seated here today, I'd like you to sit down and reflect. And if you've ever considered migrating, I want you to think about what it is that wanted to make you migrate. What is it that wanted to make you feel like you want to migrate? And once you think about that, I want you to then ask yourself, what made you think twice about migrating? What made you think twice about migrating? And so mentally, you may have some answers propping up in your mind right now. And my question to you today, which is pretty much the crux of my presentation here today, is what if you could literally migrate whilst living and sitting on the chair that you're sitting? What would that look like? What is it that would be missing? And this is where I would like to invite some contributions from a couple of you in the room who probably can share something that they feel is standing in the way of them actually migrating in a certain way. Are there any people who've considered migrating or who've migrated before and can't imagine what it is that can help them to do that? And if anyone knows the counter technology, we can talk about that. So I know one person, I know Eliza is Indonesian and works in Malaysia, and is probably a member of a Toastmasters club in Singapore and the USA. Eliza, what if you could actually go back home in Indonesia what would be your biggest fear? What do you think you'd lose from what you're actually currently benefiting living in Malaysia?
Then, well, thank you very much for the questions. One thing that I'm scared to be back to Indonesia is the inflation is so high, and I'm afraid I cannot. Oh, and one more thing, in the place that I stay, there is no Toastmaster. Yeah, it's good that I can maybe have charter a new club, but yeah, it's totally different, and I already lived the country for almost 20 years, so it's a bit scary. I prefer to go to another place if possible. So this is one thing that you also can pray for me, not to going back. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I totally understand you also being someone from a hyperinflationary country. In fact, in my country, at some point, there was a huge argument between the government who claimed that our inflation, well, the government and the economists claimed that our inflation was 8.26 sextillion% month on month. And yet, the government argued that our inflation was 500 million% month on month. Now you can already think of that chaos. But what I can tell you is when you earn money outside of the country, when you earn, say, US dollars and come and spend them in a hyperinflationary environment, that is probably one of the cheapest ways to live. And thanks to air travel and many other things, you can actually import some of the luxuries that a lot of people would actually love to live. And so what I'd like to say to you, Eliza, there are already technologies and mechanisms available to allow you to go back home without fear and without having to worry about some of the things that you're benefiting from outside whilst you actually leave home. And that is the question that I'd like us to imagine this morning, to say, there are things that are making us afraid to stay at home or to go back home as individuals. And for like I said earlier, from the research from the International Organization for Migration and the World Bank, most of the reasons that we migrate are not reasons that are in our best interests. And just the same way, the technology that we're using to make us move from building our life around our work to building our work around our lives, we could use the very same technologies to ensure that we actually migrate to other benefits that we get in other jurisdictions, whilst enjoying the super benefits of what we want as individuals, and that is to belong somewhere and to enjoy a high quality life. So I hope that you can think about some of these technologies and how they can impact you in your own lives. And I hope that despite the physical borders that exist around us, you may start removing the shackles off your mind and ask yourself, how can I be a borderless citizen, a borderless migrant, seated in the chair that you're seated in right now? Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak with you this morning.
Thank you very much, and a big round of applause for him. Thank you so much. Now I would like to open the floor for question and answer session. It'll take 5 minutes. And if anybody has a question, you can either unmute yourself or you can even write in the chat box.
I have a question, Frank.
Yes, DTM, go ahead.
Yeah. So, of course, thank you for showing us. Thank you for letting us in on the history of inflation in Zimbabwe. And I hope that after listening to this, we Pakistanis stop complaining about our inflation, because and yes, I was very I followed the inflation in Zimbabwe over the past few years, and I also saw that there was a tremendous bit of resilience. I mean, humans are so adaptable to every situation, and it was extraordinarily apparent during that crisis in Zimbabwe. So, what do you think? We now are all global citizens, and it is becoming less and less relevant where we are actually, and as I also said. So, is there a way where we can earn a living without regard to where we are actually? We can fend for ourselves and have a good living. Like, what are some of the tools that will enable us to do so?
Absolutely, they are. So I've got a journalist friend who pretty much lives most of his life in Zimbabwe. Of course, he has to travel here and there, and the odd airplane is one of the tools that he uses. The odd less than a quarter of the year he needs to travel. But of course, there are collaborative platforms like Slack, teams that are allowing us to pretty much integrate fully into many things. In fact, in many countries right now, many people are working remotely. And when you work remotely, it becomes irrelevant whether you're working in Karachi or Lahore or in Harare, Zimbabwe, which is where my country is. And so that in itself makes it different. However, there's also augmented reality that's coming into place, something that pretty much allows you to almost physically be present to do this. We see some of this augmented reality technology in the events industry, where you pretty much interact with someone like you're in the same room. In fact, a couple years ago, I saw my first ghostly interview between Oprah and Barack Obama. It just felt like they were in the same room, but they'd used augmented reality to make it possible for someone to be there. And this is another thing. Before you even physically migrate to somewhere for that short time that we're talking about, what some of this augmented reality is making possible is the idea of helping you immerse yourself into the culture that you're going to. So I know, for example, Saudi Arabia is a very big place where a lot of people are migrating to right now, given some of the investments that they're putting in to try and change the economy into more than just an oil economy. I think some of those technologies are what we truly need to actually make possible to do this. So I'll limit it to augmented reality, which is doing a lot in terms of cultural immersion. And of course, a lot of jobs now are being posted on LinkedIn and all these social media platforms, which actually allows you to apply without needing to be physically present. And ultimately, we still have the good old airplane, although we also need to look at being sustainable as another thing, and that's another thing that someone can consider.
Thank you so much, Heidi Frank. And yes, I believe that was very instructive. In fact, one example of possibilities that exist today is this very meeting that we're having. DTM Miram, Faisal, they're joining from Islamabad. I'm not sure about Shaikh. I believe he's from Islamabad too, or Pindi. Ajay is from Hyderabad. Saad and myself are from Karachi, and Eliza is from Malaysia. And of course, you are joining us. So, yeah, and it's absolutely amazing. Like even 3-4 years ago, we could not imagine living in such a world that we live today. So, any more questions? Anyone? From ID Frank?
I had
a question.
Yeah.
Yes, Toastmaster. It was a pleasure listening to you. One question that came to my mind, sorry, that when we talked about interloop travel, and let's suppose we are traveling from London to New York, hardly 90 minutes. And I was thinking about how we're going to come up with that much fuel to make it happen. And just to talk about sustainability, and in this world, we are struggling with finding sustainable ways in terms of batteries and all that stuff. So I'm just wondering how that would be made possible to make it sustainable and also to get so much fuel in a world which is getting deprived of those fossil fuels year by year.
Well, when you look at most of the space travel, and I wouldn't want to necessarily make myself a super expert in the intricacies of that technology. They're definitely not using fossil fuels all the way to get to orbit or something like that. They're also using the force of gravity. And other interesting forces. In fact, Richard Branson has something where they're actually using hydrogen to actually power their vehicles. And we also know that apparently all the energy that we need to power the whole world is produced by the sun in 8 minutes. And that is why you see companies like Tesla trying to build batteries that are able to contain energy. And so there's no doubt that a lot of our technologies are brimming up in quantum leaps, things that were infinitely impossible just a few years ago. Feel like is a reality that already lives here today. So I've got trust in men's ability to actually come up with these technologies that will actually help us power sustainably the world. Because when you think of it, if you get into an airplane, a 50-ton or 100-ton piece of metal that actually flies flawlessly in the sky. If you try and imagine how someone conceived that, then I think it's possible one of these days to actually solve this problem in a form of a quantum leap.
Thank you very much, DTM Frank. And I think we are out of time, but do we have any question left? Yes, please, let's have one more. Do we have a question left?
I think we can move on now and
Thank you very much, DTM Frank. And I would just give 1 minute. I would like to hear from you that how much you have seen the meeting today and your experience in sharing about Quantum Leap. How did you feel?
I think one of the big challenges we have as an organization globally is trying to deliver a consistent experience across the world. However, we need to differentiate between a consistent experience and a unique experience. And I feel like I experienced Toastmasters this morning coming to this event. However, I experienced something different. Just being here has allowed me to stretch my thinking outside of my comfort zone in one of my other clubs, where I'm able to pretty much show up with limited preparation and still be able to participate. And I think this is the nature of what we're trying to promote in Toastmasters. And what you're doing here is really allowing people to literally, start thinking critically about certain subjects and, move into that. And I'd like to, congratulate the leadership of this club for coming up with a concept like this and for maintaining a concept like this. This is just so absolutely amazing. And maybe as I close and as a challenge to everyone, I'd like to challenge everyone before we leave this event based on the talk that I gave to think of a category that I did not discuss in the speech that I gave today that you think would affect your migration, and put it in the chat. If you've got a technology that can solve that problem, then you can put it down. But if not, just put a challenge that we never spoke about this morning, which could be related to repatriation or something. And let's come up with technologies, because I was just challenged this morning by the level of thinking that you find in this club. So thank you so much for having me this morning, and I wish you all the success going forward.
Thank you very much, DTM Frank, for being here with us and sharing the insights. We are so humbled to have you here. There is a bit of a hiccup here and there because of the connectivity. And one of the biggest reasons we would all like to migrate is the electricity issues. So thank you so much for that. And now I would like to call and move towards the next segment. But before that, a very quick incident about words and attitude, that how words matter. Once a guy approached Albert Einstein and shared that I have stolen your bike, the one you have been looking for 3 days. I did not know it was your bike. Now see what a funny human being we are. If it was somebody poor, it wouldn't really matter. But because he was a big guy at that time, already renowned, so he came up to him and said, sorry that I have taken your bike. And now if I will rode this bike anywhere, it would be recognized. So please take it back from me. Albert Einstein at that time gave him the bike and said that the reason you have stolen is that you need it much more than me. Because he was a poor guy without any travel assets that he could have to go to work or find work. And that changed his life. He became more honest and he met Albert Einstein after a few years. He never wanted to reveal the name, but we find that in the biography that he was having a wonderful family and he learned a lesson from that bike, that be kind come what may. Be kind with your words. Your few words can change someone's direction for the life, or it can actually ditch down that person into the drain. So thank you for hearing that. And now I'm going to move towards the techie segment of the day, and that is the Geek of the Week. And guess who we have here today? He's a Gavalier, and he's been a Toastmaster for last 2 years. He's just 14 years old and already marking up impressions in our meeting, and I enjoy when he's on the stage. He's interested in cars, science and technology, and he's a thorough geek. And guess who inspires him? Not DTM Talha, but his mom, who inspires him 24/7. Sorry, DTM Talha. So please get your hands together to welcome the Geek of the Week, Gavalier Asfandyar Hamid.
My name is Asfandyar. I am from O1 and I am very interested in gaming. To me, video games are like my biggest hobby, and they are very interest me how diverse they are. I like shooting games, I like car games, I like a lot of types of games. So I think my most favorite shooter would be Halo, and there's like a company, there's like an organization called the UNSC. You are working for the UNSC to eliminate aliens from planet Earth, and I think it's just a very wonderful premise and very interesting premise for a video game, and that's why it's my favorite shooter. And of course, I also play car games, but I think this is my most favorite game. Now, while gaming can be a lot of fun and sometimes it can be educational, there are some disadvantages related to it, like too much screen time and not being productive, not spending your time productively. So that's why these are some disadvantages that people get addicted to gaming and they play games for hours on end, which is bad for their health, because not only can it impact their eyesight in a negative way, it can also disable them from spending their time productively on other things like reading a book or watching a movie or something. That's why I think there should be a time limit on gaming, especially if it's little kids, because in today's world we can see that primarily little kids are addicted to screens because they have the most exposure to them. So I think there should be a time limit, and I think that if someone is very fond of gaming, they should be encouraged to play some educational games like for example SimCity, where you learn how to run a country, where you learn how to take care of citizens, like you're the mayor. And I think it's gaming can also be very beneficial for a person to learn new skills. So that's it for me. Over to you.
So excited to hear about your passions and interests. Now we are going to move towards the next segment, which is, of course, our favorite, the table topics. And why is it favorite? Because I'm the TMOD, so most probably I would not be called. So thank you so much. Now I'm going to introduce slightly a reintroduction because I've already introduced him, but it's for the segment's sake. So this person is a DTM and he's been a Toastmaster for 7 years and he's a multiple DTM. I've forgotten the count. So when he comes, I want to know what is the recent count. So he's a CA by profession and nerd by choice, father of 4, married to a contest-winning Toastmaster as well as a Toastmaster itself. And yesterday he got inspired by a new evaluator with his empathetic evaluation skills. So please get your hands together for the table topics master for today, DTM Talha bin Hamid.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster of the Day. Such a privilege to be Table Topics Master after such a long time. And today we'll do things a little bit differently. Since the theme of the meeting is words matter, what we'll do is that we'll start a story, and I will start a story and I'll ask each table topic speaker to continue that story, but with a twist. The twist is that random words will appear on screen and you will be expected to incorporate those words into your story as you go along. And DJ Miram, I'm in no mood to spare you. Let's see how it goes. So here's the start of the story. And it will be told in first person. So I will start as if it happened to me. And with every successive speaker, it will transfer to first person. So ladies and gentlemen, yesterday I went out for grocery. And as I was browsing the shelves, I remembered that I had to get eggs. When I got to the relevant aisle, there was such a variety of eggs. Unpackaged eggs, packaged eggs, fancily wrapped eggs, slightly yellowed eggs, blindingly white eggs. Then I spied something very weird. There was a crate that had 12 blue eggs, and it was the most expensive. As they say, pricing is the ultimate marketing tool. So I thought that these blue eggs must be very superior. So I picked up the crate of blue eggs and went to the checkout counter. What happened next? I will invite Toastmaster Faisal Iqbal to continue the story.
When I picked those blue eggs, I was just wondering and thinking what composition would be of these blue eggs. And would those be of duck, of hens, of whichever creature I may not know about? So while going through that, a video came in my mind, which I saw in my childhood at National Geographic Channel, which is talking about different types of birds and their eggs. And I was thinking that what would be the composition exactly and how it will differ and how nutritious or tasty would be for me as well. Because I was thinking that I don't like eggs at all. So who will be eating at house? I don't like it unless I went to my university. But who will eat? My brother Sean will eat that, but because I don't like it. And that's how I never eat those, but I just went to that counter and I paid that. And then I called upon anyone else? DTM Saad?
Yeah, so all right. Okay, so you are now shifting the story. Okay, So, okay, what happened next? Why not ask our international director, Frank Hero, what happened next?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
I struggles hearing you because I was busy changing network, so I missed that part. So can I come right after this one, then I can pick up on the flow?
All right. Sure. So the word that's supposed to be used is right on the screen, and our next speaker would have an advantage. They've already seen it. So Toastmaster Shaikh Rizwan, please continue the story. We can't hear you, Shaikh. Is he audible?
No. Can you please take off the
Remove it.
earphones?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, am I audible now?
Yes.
Yeah, of course you are.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are. Yes, you
Okay.
are.
So when I picked up those blue eggs from the shop and reached back to my car in outside car parking, my whole family just got surprised what I actually brought from the store, the blue eggs. That was the unique thing which they have seen there. And then one of the grasshopper was sitting on the roof of my car, and he also looked up those blue eggs very keenly. And I just got surprised that he is also not getting it, that what it is actually. Then I told my family that these are the unique eggs, and let's see what we can do from these. We can put these eggs in the corner shelf of our drawing room, and it can amuse the guests who will visit us, and they will ask about that what kind of eggs these are. So I actually make that thing in my mind, that how now I will use those eggs, because definitely I can't eat those eggs because they were unique. And I cannot, you can say, forget the expression of that grasshopper, how he was looking up those blue eggs. So our two, Miss Eliza, are you here? Will you continue the story? Or Mr. Frank, if you can continue now, please.
I think Frank can continue the story.
Okay, so once I had these special blue eggs and the grasshopper was coming, I started thinking, why would a grasshopper show up when I've just bought in these weird eggs? In fact, whilst grasshoppers are very common in summer, it's not always common to see one here. And this is when I started having an ear war. I started trying to imagine lots of things that just made my ears ring. And that's when I thought, maybe these blue eggs could actually have an effect on us as humans that is very medicinal. Now, in my country, grasshoppers are actually known to bring some medicinal effect. And so seeing this grasshopper with my blue eggs, I couldn't help but think that maybe these blue eggs were the silver bullet that we've been looking for to solve a lot of our medicinal issues. Maybe a bit of that stem cell technology, but this time delivered in a bio-friendly manner. And that's how I started imagining this. And so I now pass on the baton to the next person. Eliza, you can go for it.
All right, DTA Mirror, what happened next?
And then out of those blue eggs, because the grasshopper was actually looking at it and having a feel, it hatched, came out dancing small grasshoppers. And this grasshopper knew that there was a connection, and I was surprised at his belief because he didn't keep moving off. When I tried shooing him, he didn't. And while those small blue grasshoppers came out of the blue eggs, the main grasshopper started shining, and it started glowing. And all this time I was thinking that, is it a dream? What am I seeing? This is out of a movie or something like a Cinderella magic kind of a stuff that, now the grasshopper is going to become something. And while I was watching this, my eyes started beholding with that great shine of the grasshopper, who now was turning into a bigger grasshopper. So my fear was, should I run or should I stay and watch? Can I pass this now over to Toastmaster Faisal Iqbal?
Thank you so much. This was a fascinating already spoken. So we asked DT and GK Ajay to continue the show. Ajay, are you there?
It is so messed up now.
Well, that was the whole idea. Okay, how about you, DTM Sir? Please continue the story.
Apologies for the last bit of the is story.
It was that there were the blue eggs hatched and dancing little grasshoppers emerged, while the main larger grasshopper got bigger and bigger and started shining and glowing.
Okay, so then this whole family of grasshoppers hoppers is started to live their lives, and they got bigger and bigger, and then one day they told their parents that we need to explore the world. We need to ex- explore the galaxy. We need to explore the quantum realm, and 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 how can we reach reach that place. So the parents said that we need to take a rocket for that, but the the rocket was so fast that that on their way they started to vomit, and 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 they said that no, it's a bad it's a bad idea, and let's not take TTM Frank's advice of migrating just for the sake of migrating, and let's be more practical, and do that when it's actually necessary to do that. So with that, it's back to the table topic master, DTM Tala.
Thank you so much, DTM Sir. And DTM Ajay, are you there? All right, I think since we have crossed the galaxy and all the grasshoppers inside the spaceship are vomiting, it's best to leave it till the next episode. And I'm so glad with the direction the story took.
I believe Yes, DTM Tala is back, and he needs to migrate back into the
Sorry,
meeting.
am I audible?
Yes, you are audible now.
Yeah. So, all right. So over to you.
Thank you very much, DTM Talha. DTM Saad, do we have a timing report on this today?
Yes, it's like I said, we are lucky we don't have uh, have our IPP with us.
Exactly. Thank you so much, DTM Saad. And thank you very much, DTM Talha, for conducting such an interesting session. With the last word was almost getting down my guts. So thank you so much. And now we are going to move towards the major evaluation of the meeting today. For that, I would just quickly tell you a small real story. Do any of you over here know about Fred Rogers? The one who used to do educational programs. Okay, so you need to go back and watch a couple of episodes of the children's television program, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. And this person, if you look at his interview that he gave in 1969 to the Senate for the hearing for getting the budget for the TV program for children, you must go and watch it. I will write down in the chat box. It takes like 6 to 7 minutes, but the speech he has done, the words that he have used, there was no drama, there was no storytelling, but he was the real picture of using the words from his heart and soul. Fred Rogers, hearing at Senate in 1969. And guess what? When he finished his speech in the end, the senator pastor said, "Looks like you have just earned $20 million." And he was given a chance to do the children programs of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, which still today people would watch to teach their kids that everyone is special, everyone is accepted the way they are, and there is no race, and we have to practice kind words, legacy of kindness, empathy, and belief that we are all different in our own ways. That's the beauty of using wonderful words and words. So please do. This, I'm going to call upon my general evaluator for the day. And my general evaluator for the day is, yes, I'm going to give a reintroduction. I'm just enjoying giving introductions today because I'm so proud of the people I have here. So he's a Toastmaster since 2019. So that's been like 5 years, 4 to 5 years. And he's a computer scientist working as a digital marketing professional in US-based software company. And when I asked him about who inspired him, he said, make your own luck. Inspiration from Titanic movie. And he's also the current president of Quantam Toastmasters Club and a Zoom master guru of all of us, literally. So passing on for the general evaluation to DTM Saad.
Thank you very much, Distinguished Toastmaster Iram Frisbee, the Toastmaster Master of the Day, fellow Toastmasters and guests. It's now time for the general evaluation session. Like the saying goes, behind every successful man, we have a woman, but in Toastmaster, it's a bit different. Behind every successful speech or in every successful performance, we have a powerful evaluation to actually make it happen. So that's why the evaluation is really important for us to know that what are things we can work upon. So the first one the first role holder we have is the language evaluator, and that report will be presented by DTM GK Ajay. So DTM Ajay, can you please present your report?
Sure, TTM Saad. So as the language evaluator or the grammarian of the day, I would like to highlight four people has used the word of the day, and they are DTM Saad, DTM Talha, DTM Erim, and Shaikh. So if I'm pronouncing it correctly, so four speakers has used, but I would request the other speakers or the attendees to use the word of the day. So regularly in at least today, and there are few good words I made a note of them. So they are from Erim, DTM Erim. Every negative story has a positive learning and the power of words. She spoke very well on the power of words today, and I would like to thank her. And so this is my general evaluator. This is my grammarian report in short. So back to you, DTM Saad.
Thank you very much, Distinguished Toastmaster GK Ajay, and now for my report as the timer. Let's just say that everyone was first qualified and and depending upon when we began the meeting, we will be ending it within the in the in the time span that we were supposed to be ending it. So that was my report as the timer. Now for my overall report as the general evaluator, we began the meeting about 20 to 5 minutes after time because we were waiting for, for some key role holders, the, the, the members of Quantum Advanced Toastmaster were 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 pretty much proactive in taking up the roles, and we had a full agenda, and once the meeting began, made be the speech by TTM GK Ajay, the 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 wonderful keynote by our by our ID TTM Frank, and followed by the by the table topics session, kick of the week session, the evaluation. Everything was as per the bars set by Quantum Leap Advanced Toastmaster Club. The one thing we can work upon is is of course beginning the meeting of on on time, so we can end the meeting on time, because we have just 2 weeks since till our respected TTM staff joins the meetings again. So we don't want him and want that to be his last meeting of 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 Quantum Leap. So that one thing we can work upon, but all in all, uh, this meeting may not have the quantity, but it was full of quality. So with that, it's over to the Toastmaster of the day, TTM Iram this week.
Thank you very much, DTM Saad, and thank you everybody for playing the roles today so effectively. And I'm sure we have all learned something. I'm going to now pass on towards my closing remarks. And for that, I'm going to bring something which is very commonly known by all of us. So in 1960s, there was a young man named Chris Gardner. Does it ring the bell? Okay, so Chris Gardner was having very hard time struggling to make the ends meet, and he wanted to give a better life for his young son. So he decided to pursue his career in stockbroking, but breaking into the competitive field was very tough. So he couldn't, it was getting tough for him, but he didn't give up. One day when he was on the internship, Chris met a kind-hearted, supported manager named Bob Ellis. Bob saw Chris working hard and he was impressed by his determination. So Bob took him aside and said one day, "Don't let anyone tell you that you cannot do something. If you have a dream, protect it and chase it. You can make it happen." Inspired by Bob's words of encouragement, Chris continued to pursue his dream relentlessly. And even in the face of adversity, he was doing his best. He eventually landed a full-time job as a stockbroker and into a best-selling Hollywood movie and book called Pursuit of Happiness, which was starring by Will Smith. He had his own brokerage firm. This is a real-time story, guys. This is the importance and the power of positive words. Chris, if you look at his life, it is a bit exaggerated in the movie, but yes, he was on the verge of giving up many times and even suiciding. But look at where did he ended up in. That's the power of having just one person doing a good deed of words with you and changing your life forever. Thank you so much for listening to me. I'm sure we all have been inspired by numerous people all over our lives. This is why we have been guided of where we are and why I love Toastmasters, because Toastmasters has given me numerous number of mentors, people, my colleagues, my subordinates, my members of the club who have always done their work of inspiration in every single meeting and made me of a fraction of a better person that I am today than I was yesterday. So thank you so much. And I'm passing over the closing now to the president of the club, DTM Saad Shoaib. Over to you.
Thank you very much, TTM Iram Trisby, for conducting the meeting in a very professional manner and keeping our bar and meeting the standards that Quantum Leap is known for. So everyone, please vote for the best big three. The poll will be could be in front of you, and in the meantime, can I ask for the feedback of our guest, Toastmaster Shaikh Rizwan. What was your feedback about the meeting? No, you aren't
He
audible.
cannot
You
hear
can
you.
just take
Audible
out
now?
your phone. Yes,
My
perfectly audible.
hand frees are not working today. Okay. So it was really nice to be here attending today's meeting. It was just, I got up from my bed and just I was scrolling my mobile and I got this message, and it was really great to be here and to connect with such a lovely people here. Saad, Faisal, Ajay, Mr. Frank, Talas, Rajesh, TM Rajesh, and Ma'am Iram, of course. So everyone was so overwhelming, and it was really a great experience. And I wish to continue it, and looking forward to attend more meetings of the Quantum Lead Club in future as well. So good luck for your club, and have a good day for all.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Shaikh. We would be happy to host you again. Next we have Toastmaster Rajesh with us. He joined a bit late, but what was your overall feedback about the meeting?
Yeah, I think I thank you so much, DTM Sad. This is my third meeting for since morning. I think my weekends are more busier than the weekdays because of the Toastmasters. I've been associated with Toastmasters. Uh, I saw this update in one of the WhatsApp group and I joined this meeting. And there was a topic session was going on. There was a topic shared. I could not participate on this, but it was tempting. I was really focused on what tempting me to keep attending this meeting. Okay, there was just 8 members in this Toastmasters meeting. How they are keep continuing that meeting. That was really fascinating. Everyone so fascinated and so energized and encouraged each other and keep continuing the meeting. That is the one learning right from the Toastmasters. Wherever we are, whatever we are, we have to be happy with that moment and we have to move on. Sometimes I feel like I think whenever I see that less number of participants in Toastmasters, I feel low energized. But I think you made me. Don't worry about that. Keep continuing and keep doing what you're doing. That will inspire people. That is what I inspired by your in this meeting and by your all your amazing speeches and to the DTM Rim and DTM Talha and DTM Saad. I had a great learning from this meeting. I will be keep attending this meeting in the coming forward as well. Over to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Rajesh, for your kind words and for that motivation. We look forward to hosting you again as well. And next we have our is is special guest of honor, DTM Frank. So sir, what was your feedback about this meeting?
Well, just to repeat that, I truly enjoyed being challenged and being stretched literally in this event, including the table topics subsequent to my comment earlier. And I just want to encourage you to keep going and to keep encouraging, some of these practical and critical thinking tools that you use in this event, because the world truly needs that. So thank you again for having me, and fantastic event. Over to you, Sir Mr. Sad.
Thank you very much, distinguished Toastmaster Frank, and we will be happy to host you again as a keynote speaker, participant, observer, for whatever you want, we can make it happen. So thank you very much. Next thing we would like, but first, thank you very much, to our returning guest, Toastmaster Faisal Iqbal. You have always been ready to contribute and participate in our meeting, and look forward to seeing you in the evening as well. So 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 with that, let's move on to the popular votes. The best prepared speaker we had was GK Ajay, because he spoke on time. So DTM GK Ajay is the best prepared speaker, and the best table topic speaker award goes to our guest DTM Frank, and the best big tree award goes to the person who was well prepared according to the theme of the meeting. It goes to the Toastmaster of the day, DTM Iram Rizvi. So with that, we can call the meeting adjourned, and yes.
Yeah.
Miriam Dala.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. Just a couple of announcements. First of all, we also had a district training event today, and it's happening right now. So, but still, I'm grateful for everyone who attended. There is one thing that we used to say, since this happens to be an advanced and themed club, and by a very definition, it cannot have crowds of people wanting to join because it's specialized. So what we say is that what matters is the people who actually join. As soon as the meeting starts, anybody who didn't join ceases to matter. What matters is people who join, because we all join and we are all walking away as better human beings as a result. And secondly, our next meeting will be in 2 weeks' time. And in that, the keynote speaker will be, for some of you, the name would be familiar, DTM Swarna Kalyal. She is the district director, District 80, and she's also a founding member, a charter member of Quantam. So she will be the keynote speaker. So I will urge everyone to take up roles for the next meeting. The floor of polls will be floated. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Over to you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, distinguished Toastmaster Tala bin Hamid. So we have a district director as the keynote for the next meeting, which will take place on the 23rd of September. So that's an added incentive to take up roles and join the meeting. So with that, I call the meeting adjourned, and we'll meet in 2 weeks' time. Bye for now.
Thank you so much. Thank you.